This episode is brought to you by Progressive.
Are you driving your car or doing the laundry right now? Podcasts go best when they're bundled with another activity, like Progressive home and auto policies. They're best when bundled too.
Having these two policies together makes insurance easier and could help you save. Customers who save by switching their home and car insurance to Progressive save over $775 on average.
Quote a home and car bundle today at progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $779 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
Hello and welcome back to Chasing Excellence, a show about chasing what truly matters. My name is Patrick Cummings. As always, I'm here with Ben Bergeron. Hello, and how are you?
Fantastic, Patrick. How are you?
Great. Great. Thank you everybody out there for joining us. This time around, we're returning to AMQAP20, which is when we go through our long list of questions that we've got from folks, and we try to get to as many of them as we can inside of 20 minutes. Those questions, of course, are across the 5 factors of health: how we move, eat, sleep, think, and connect. Real quick before we jump into them, chasingexcellence.email. If you'd like to get a question into the queue, that's the best way to do it. Get on the free newsletter list. Every weekend, we'll send out an email with a link to a form. You can submit as many questions as you'd like, and we thank you in advance for doing so. I'm going to start our clock. Are you ready?
Let's do it. Go.
All right. 20 minutes on the clock. This first question is from Robert. I'm 43, do CrossFit 5 times a week with a 5-mile run on Sundays. I have the 5 factors dialed in: sleep consistently for 7 hours, work with a nutrition coach, count macros, eat clean. What are some pro tips to recover quicker from metabolic conditioning workouts? For example, should I hop on an assault bike for a couple minutes right after the workout at an easy pace as my heart rate comes down? Or does focused breath work immediately post-workout help lower heart rate more effectively to promote faster recovery?
Cool. It's Robert?
Robert.
Robert's dialed in, huh?
Yep.
Love it. Okay, to promote faster recovery, the number one thing that's going to improve your recovery is your overall fitness level. So there are tools, there are tactics, there are things that you could do. You could learn how to breathe more effectively, which I think is what you're talking about with the breath work. The time to work on that is actually not right after your recovery. It's to practice it. If you do it right after your recovery, you're essentially just prolonging your training. But things like getting on an assault bike, there's mixed things about that in terms of like an actual active cool down. So one school of thought is, yes, it helps keep the blood flowing to bring oxygenated blood to the areas that have been stressed and remove the waste product. The other school of thought is you're still training, you're still burning calories, you're still working. So you're just essentially prolonging the workout. I don't think we need to get down the rabbit holes of that. The biggest thing to improve your recoverability is like what you're doing in your 5-mile run, ... If you're doing the 5-mile run the way that we prescribe it, which is zone 2, which is long, slow distance, which is, this is easy. When you do this is easy, you are basically, think of like your runs, if they are easy enough, the long ones that you do on Sunday run day. If you do those, essentially what you're doing is you are improving 2 things: your aerobic base, how long you can go at a low level. Now you can get ready to run a half marathon or marathon. The other thing you're doing is you're improving your recoverability from an aerobic standpoint. So when you get into the hard interval sessions, when you get doing your hard intensity intervals or your VO2 max, when you're doing your CrossFit stuff and you're lying on the floor, you will recover faster if you have a bigger aerobic base. Think of the pyramid. You got to build out the base of the pyramid and able to get the high intensity and be able to recover faster so you can train again. It's one of the things that I think is over-indexed in the endurance world and way under-indexed in the CrossFit world. So I'm not saying zone 2 4 days a week. I'm saying do it once and do it long and do it easy. If it's a huge hole for you, maybe you're a former football player, sprinter, maybe you're a former weightlifter. Did I say weightlifter twice? I don't know if I did. Gymnast, whatever it is. And it's a huge hole for you, you can't recover, then that's where you might go like, okay, we'll do a couple of these longer, slower ones throughout the week. But that's really, if there's a tool that will build it the best, it's building your aerobic base is the best way to improve your recoverability.
Got it. All right. Next question is from Johan. I'm in my early 40s and discovered my passion for CrossFit about 5 years ago. Back then, without children, training 5 times a week was effortless. Now I'm blessed with a wonderful family, including 2 small kids, but training demands more planning. I feel you. Consequently, I schedule 3 workouts a week at 7 a.m. My question concerns nutrition. Should I eat before the workout? Valuing sleep and recovery, I currently wake up just 15 minutes before the workout, eat a banana, drink some water with pre-workout, which seems effective. Post-WOD, I have a balanced meal with measured macros. Is this approach suitable, or should I make some adjustments? This is basically my life. That he's just that Johan is just.
Patrick has this friend named Johan.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that you're following. We're trying to get more questions in, and you're reading super fast. This is what I used to do. I used to use the same length of response.
Same answer, but faster.
Yeah, just faster. Yep. Johan trains 7 days a week. He has newborn children. He's do I hear going once, going twice, sold to the man in the third. Okay. The answer is Johan. That's the way to do it. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, you don't have to get up earlier to eat. You don't need to fuel these types of workouts. If you are training, not in the gym, but if you are training for less than an hour, you don't need to fuel that. You have enough stored glycogen in your muscles to be able to get through that workout. Some people will feel better, obviously, particularly after that like 45-minute mark. No, I'm going to do weight vest Murph, and I'm going to feel so much better if I have, some sort of carb drink or a banana. Yeah, okay, yes. But most of our workouts are under 40 minutes. If you're under 40 minutes, you do not. If you are training above an hour, there should be some fuel before and or during, but it's light and easy, just like you said. Some pre-workout, some electrolytes, a banana, really easy to digest carbohydrates is what we're looking for. And yeah, we go down the rabbit hole, like raisins, no, because they're alkaline and the base, and we go all towards the no, you need a really sugary thing, so it's to go dates or but the answer is you don't need it. If you want it, it feels good, go for it. Something light, just like that. Banana, fuel for fire, raisins, a little carb drink, and that's all we need.
Yep. I like a little bit of applesauce or just an actual apple.
There you go.
That tends to be easy and it doesn't slow me down. I can get right to it.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question is from Suzanne. I know we often discuss the importance of reading. I love it and always enjoy learning from the books you and Ben recommend. However, I often feel overwhelmed and unsure about how to apply the information I've learned. I encounter many wonderful and interesting concepts and ideas, but I don't always act on them because I'm not sure how to manage or implement them. This is especially challenging due to the volume of reading. How do you organize, manage, and implement the ideas and lessons from the books you read?
Awesome, Suzanne. Relax. We don't need to, nor is the expectation that we should implement everything that we're just trying to gather information. Mm-hmm. And then we plug that information into a framework. And does the information add, change, edit, delete the framework? And that's what we want to do, is we want to live our lives by these frameworks. Because if you try to go, oh, and this person said this, and that person said that, and now I'm going to do this. The frameworks create the shape of the structure, the shape of your life. And then inside of that, there's tools and tactics. If we were building a house, you would want the framing of the house, because that just determines the shape, and it's the shape of our lives. Then from there, inside of it, it's like, well, what sort of fixtures do we want on the cabinets? Do we want a big sink or a shallow sink? Do we want hardwood floors? Do we want carpet? All of that stuff is it's a little bit interchangeable. Certainly it will help color between the lines, but the outline of it is the framework. And how do we do that? We're trying to propose a framework here through this, whatever it's been, 10-year conversation, but we're not saying it's the only or it's the right. We're trying to create a suggestion for everyone else to take that and create their own. What is our framework? It is that we believe that there's a shared goal amongst all humans, that they want to live a fulfilled life, a well-lived life. What is the purpose of life? It is to live a good life. So we're searching for the good life. From there, what do we think entails the good life? We think that it's pursuing worthwhile endeavors. And what is a worthwhile endeavor? Happiness, the peace of mind that comes from knowing that you have a strong body, a strong mind, and a solid soul. How do we do that? Well, we have the 5 factors to get us there. The 5 factors are the way that we create strong body, strong mind, strong soul. What are those 5 factors? It's how you train, eat, sleep, think, and connect. Connect with yourself, your purpose, your values, your mission. Connect with others. Are you a part of a community? And get outside. The only reason I wouldn't that last one is because a lot of times that one gets kind of thrown into like, no, it's about the gym. It's about nutrition. It's about make sure you sleep. No, it's also about this holistic life aspect to it. So as Suzanne, as you're reading, you just go, ooh, would that fit? Would that be one of the things that I would want to implement into making my life more full of love, full of, could I do that to tweak my morning routine? Does that make me question the way I'm spending my 9 to 5? Maybe, and that's what we're doing. We're reading to learn, to say, can we just kind of shape the framework a little bit differently? What would be amazing and awesome is if we were able to read and learn something that completely changed the framework. That's exciting. That's really exciting. Those are really few and far between, but they have happened over this 10-year conversation. Chasing excellence in the beginning was about being a world beater, being a number 1 in the world, being the very best at something. And I did that through the pursuit of CrossFit as a professional sport. And I was trying to do it through business and entrepreneurship. That conversation's changed. We've learned things along the way and shifted. So I want to change the framework. I want to change the way I think about the world. But we don't do it with every single thing we learn and go, oh, now it's different. Oh, now it's going to be this. So plug it into the framework, see what sticks, throw it up on the wall. Some things will fall off, and that's okay.
Yeah, love that. I'll just add one thing because we just went through it, which is the book club. One of the things that I did this time around for the book club was every week I would sort of give some prompts as to like, here's what stuck out at me. Here's what was interesting to me, just as a way for us inside of the Chase Club to sort of start a conversation. And I found that process, having that sort of external thing that I knew, like as I was reading whatever this chapter or these chapters, I was going to have to pull a couple things out and I was going to have to ask some questions of those things. And I was going to have to think about where, to your point, where this fits into my own personal or our collective framework. And having that external thing, call it pressure or not, but like just knowing that I was going to have to come out with a couple of good questions or a couple of good ideas or whatever was really helpful in reading it and in elevating it above what is easy to do, which is just like, okay, I read that chapter. Okay, now I've done that book. And now I guess I go get another book, right? And it's that endless cycle of reading and reading and reading without thinking about, well, how does this actually apply to my life? Or how could this apply to my life? And so that's the only thing I would add on top of yours, which is if you can figure out a way to actually elevate the reading experience so that you are on the hook to some degree to come out with 1 or 2 or 3 big things that you are going to at least talk about, if not implement in your own life, can be a way to bring yourself out of the habit of like reading for the sake of reading and picking up the next book for the sake of the next book. Yeah.
Really specifically, maybe an example, the book we most recently read in the Chase Club was Comfort Crisis.
Yep.
And, we have a framework and we have a prescription, and piece of that prescription is how we eat. And our first principle for that prescription used to be eat real food. Mm-hmm. This is a great example of, can we change the framework? From reading The Comfort Crisis, we have adopted a new piece of that, which is eat single ingredient foods. Because what is real food gets a little bit kind of like, okay, but are we talking paleo? Because then what about legumes? What about rice? What about potatoes? You have to cook those. So if you have to cook it, does it make it a real food or not?
Correct.
And you get this like little back and forth where you go, no, single ingredient foods. In that case, is rice, beans, and potatoes single ingredient food? It's very easy. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
So we are trying to continually simplify and refine. And as we read things, what I'm constantly trying to do, and as Patrick just alluded, is like, can I use this to morph the framework to then share it with other people? Like that's what I'm always thinking about as I'm reading. Is like, is this something, because I actually have the opportunity to like share this every day if I want to through this platform and through the gym where I talk to people every day after class. And it's really useful to me to be like, I'm always the teacher learning to be like, what's my next lesson going to be?
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think about that with the gym, but yeah, you've got this great, this space that you can fill with, what am I thinking about? What am I learning? What am I reading? How does that connect with the things I've talked about before? That's great.
Yeah.
Dig that. We're going to press pause on our clock for just a few minutes. We're going to say thanks to a few sponsors that help us make this show possible. Brought to you this time around by 8 Sleep. Let's talk about the true sleep game changer, the Pod 4 Ultra by 8 Sleep. Head to 8sleep.com/excellence to learn more about this wonderful addition to your bedroom and to get $350 off your own Pod 4 Ultra. Whoa. Imagine falling asleep faster, reducing snoring, and waking up feeling more refreshed every single day. The Pod 4 Ultra is not just a sleep system, it's a revolution in sleep technology. As we've talked about before here on the show, it cools, it heats, and now it elevates your bed automatically. Whether it's cooling you down during hot summer nights or gently lifting your head to reduce snoring, this pod has got you covered. The best part is it integrates seamlessly with your lifestyle. No need for wearables because the pod tracks your sleep phases, heart rate, and more with 99% accuracy. It's clinically proven to give you up to an hour more of quality sleep every single night. So join smart people like Dr. Matt Walker and Tim Ferriss, who swear by the pod for its incredible benefits. So why wait? Head to 8sleep.com/excellence. Save yourself $350 off your Pod 4 Ultra.
I'll tell you, 8 Sleep is like, there's some companies that like are doing it, like they're one of these companies that are like doing it.
Agreed.
This is not like, this is not a hack. Yep. I think there's a lot of hacks, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but like they will move it on the fringes, like they'll get you a % here or there. An hour more sleep per night is not a hack.
We're also brought to you this week by Cozy Earth. We love Cozy Earth. Have you ever thought about how your sleep environment can affect your fitness and health? Of course you have, because you listen to this show. Well, our friends at Cozy Earth have too. They've designed a range of luxurious and comfortable bedding and loungewear that elevates your sleep experience to a whole new level. After a solid day of training, there's nothing better than immersing yourself in the rejuvenating comfort of Cozy Earth's bedding. Trust me, your body will thank you for it. And guess what? Your sleep sanctuary doesn't have to be limited to your home. With Cozy Earth's travel-friendly products, you can say goodbye to restless nights and hello to revitalizing sleep wherever life takes you. And let's not forget about their temperature-regulating bamboo joggers and pullover crew. They are perfect for those post-workout relaxation sessions, keeping you cool and comfortable no matter what comes next on your fitness journey. So give it a try. Visit CozyEarth.com and unlock an exclusive discount with the code EXCELLENCE. Prioritize your well-being without sacrificing your fitness goals with Cozy Earth.
Yeah, it's so comfy. That's the comfiest stuff. It's unbelievable. Yeah, like temperature controlling thing is like, I don't know how they do that.
Black magic.
Right?
I'm glad they do, though. All right, we're going to jump back into our questions. We've been a little slow, so we haven't gotten them. We've only gotten 3 questions, Ben.
Oh my gosh, I think our norm is like 8, right?
I know. Oof. So I might give us another couple extra minutes because we've been chatting. But here, this one's from Smeet. How does one strike the right balance between spontaneity and intentional daily planning, especially vis-a-vis the conversation you had at some point about daily tracking and time blocking your day? And 2 points for Smeet for using vis-a-vis.
Okay, so yeah, it does look like as you start tracking, and I wanted my life to be full of these things, it gets rid of the spontaneity and the fun, impulsive side of life. Here's one of the things I track, which is, what did I do yesterday? And if I only did the things that I'm tracking every day, there'd be nothing to record because I'm already recording those. So every day I'm actually searching for something that is spontaneous, that is different, that is not wake up morning routine, 9 to 5, go home, family dinner, soccer practice, read and tuck my kids into bed. I'm looking for something that's outside of the normal routine, and that's what I'm recording down as well. So it's weird, this kind of, the fact that I'm actually tracking, did something outside the norm happen? Yep. So it is, the one thing I'll also say is, the second thing to say on top of that is, shout out to Jocko, but discipline equals freedom. All right. The more that you are disciplined about this, the more free time you actually have to do those fun, outside the norm activities. Yep.
What you just said, the first thing reminds me of when we did that we did like a 30-day kindness challenge. And what happens when you do that is, to your point, you go into the day thinking, okay, I got to find something to do that I can check off. Okay, I did the kindness thing. I was able to, and I think it's a lot like this, which is once you start, which I think is kind of a brilliant way that you've done it in terms of like what happened today that I can actually write down that is worth mentioning, so that in a year from now, I'm like, oh, I'm really, oh, I remember when I did that or when we did that or whatever. It's really kind of brilliant workaround from getting stuck in the rut of like, this is just how my days are, by like kind of giving yourself a point for going out and doing something that is novel, that is different, that is out of the ordinary, that does require you to elevate yourself above the status quo of the day. I just think it's such a good way to do it.
And for those, maybe a little more detail, I record those down on one continuous thing. It's not like it's interjected into a daily. And the purpose of that is at the end of the year, I can read through my entire year really quickly. It takes, 10, 15 minutes to go. And I remember the whole, for someone with as terrible as memory as I do, it's really cool to go, oh yeah, I forgot that we went on that hike, after dinner one night in July. Like that would have been just totally lost. But we went on that hike and we saw that family of deer in the woods, like, oh my God, I would not have remembered that unless I wrote that down the day before. It's like, and then you have all 365 of those, and your year looks like a whole lot more productive, adventurous, filling than it would be if like you're like, I think I just went to work and came home like all
for
week.
6 months straight.
For 9 months. It's like,
yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna steal that because I really like the like getting yourself out of this just like the daily grind thing. Yeah. And actually, just
to be honest, like it's hard sometimes. Like,
you look back at the day.
You look back at the day before, and you're like, "Fuck, right." I don't think I did anything.
Yeah, which is again a trigger in the positive sense, because like if you go and at the end of the day, let's say you do it at the end of the day, and you're like, nothing happened. Like you're gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, I don't want another day in which I have to, I don't have something to write down or to check off or whatever. So it's a good forcing function to even just go into the next day saying, okay, I'm not gonna. Today is not going to be like yesterday in a good way.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, love that. All right, let's try to get a couple more in. This is from Joseph. How does Ben approach a client to start talking about mindset? Is there a specific process they go through? How do you assess whether someone has a fixed or growth mindset? I love structure and process, and I feel like I'm doing clients a disservice if I jump straight into fixing their problems without following a systematic approach. Also, I feel unqualified to discuss this topic because I don't have any formal certification in it. There's a lot in there, but...
Okay, let's address that last one first. Like, I feel very unqualified to be a dad because I did not take a dad certification. Like, you don't need to be certified to be able to help people. Like, yes. I walked by a homeless guy that I have no training in social services. So maybe I shouldn't do that because I don't know how to truly approach that person who's struggling in need. Like, it's like you don't need a certification to try to help people. That's a big, I really don't like that. And the other part is like, well, unless they're a PhD, we're not going to listen to them. It's, some of the smartest people like learned in the trenches. Like they didn't learn it by going to get a accreditation. So that's maybe a little pet peeve and a little rant. So I want to get that one off the table. And then from there, it's Joseph, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I like it. We want to systemize this. I don't think it's the way is to like go with a total formality to it. The easiest way to do it is when somebody is done with a hard training session or set or whatever it might be, you ask them what's going through your mind. Like what's going through your mind? What was going through your mind during that workout? What's going through your mind right now? And then you start to hear the story they're telling themselves. And that's what we're trying to, that's Mark England's definition of mindset is the story we tell ourselves. So if we're trying to change people's mindset, that's what we're trying to do. By the way, I've learned to really dislike that term mindset. I don't think it's not set. It's such a terrible ending to that phrase. It's not mindset. It should be like mind adapting, mind evolving is what it should be. And it's not even your mind. It's to me, and we've talked about this, it's your character. Like you can tell yourself something, but if you act in spite of that, that's the thing that actually matters. So you could be telling yourself this victim mentality, but you go and act like a true competitor. That's what I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. So here is the short answer to that though, is try to dig into what the story is they're telling themselves, either by literally asking themselves or really listening to the words. When they're talking, do you hear the victim? Do you hear the negative, the pessimist? Do you hear the overly optimistic? And then you're trying to help them reshape their narrative, reshape the language to be more like a realist or a competitor. That's the job. And that's all it comes down to, is getting a grasp and understanding of the words that they're saying to themselves.
It's really cool when you combine a little bit of the Mark England Enlifted story part of it with the hierarchy of mindset that we've talked a lot about. Like, can you get them to verbalize the story that's running in their head that they may not even be aware of? But like, and I love what, like right after the workout or after the session, or right, because we are often able to, or the workout itself brings that story to the forefront, and we might be in a position actually we're willing to be vulnerable enough to talk about it. So in that environment, in that context, can you get them to verbalize the story? And then can you, as the coach, be able to begin to identify, I'm hearing a lot of victim there, I'm hearing a lot of pessimism there. And then my job as the coach is, can I just bring you a little bit up that ladder of mindset? Can I bump you up to realist, to your point? Can I bump you up to competitor? And just, again, having those frameworks, so wildly helpful, versus like, I guess my job is to make you have a better mindset, which we've been having this conversation for years and years, and I wouldn't know what that means, right? To like help somebody get a better mindset. But again, stories and that hierarchy of mindset are two really interesting frameworks when you get them together. That could be really powerful as a coach.
Yeah, in terms of the storytelling aspect, that is the defining characteristic of the 3 lower levels. Mm-hmm. If you are a realist, there's no story to tell. You're just accepting reality.
Yep.
If you're an optimist, you're telling a story about what's happening. If you're a pessimist, you're telling a very, very different story. If you're a victim, you're telling the most detrimental story to yourself. If we can eliminate the storytelling, we're a realist. Now, if you can tell your story that you love, it's kind of like it comes back. It's like, that's the Mendoza line. That's the thing, but it's over here. If you can get back to the point where like you start to love the hardship and the challenges more than just accept them, well, that's what a true competitor is. A true competitor wants to go up, and that's what we're trying to get people to. And again, we've talked about this all the time, but as the coach, as you said, when you say like, I'm hearing a lot of victim, I'm hearing a lot of pessimist, you're not saying that back to them. Mm-hmm. You're internalizing that yourself and going, okay, now how, this is my job as the coach, how do I nudge them up the continuum? Yep. How do I get them to reframe things? How do I get them to change the way they're seeing things? You know, it's only when we change the way we see things that things actually change. If we don't change the way we see things, it's not going to change. Like this is how it's going to be. So that's always the challenge, is can we see this from a different perspective? And that framework allows you the opportunity to go like, this is what the next level up does. And if you're feeling like a victim, I'm not saying go and like be a competitor or realist. It's like, just like stop saying woe is me and go, this sucks. Mm-hmm. It's not woe is me. And that's a big step up. The world isn't out to get me. This isn't the universe. It's not raining because it's my birthday. You know, it's that type of thing. It's just that it sucks that it's raining on my birthday. But it's not like it always rains on my birthday. Of course this is happening to me.
Take it. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. That was our AMQAP20. I think we got, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Wow.
Oh, that's
we're crushing it. That's a, what's the opposite of a PR?
Not a PR?
There should be a term for the opposite of a PR.
There is. Yeah. I don't know. DFL.
Whatever it is. There you go. All right. Thanks everybody out there for listening. Thanks for your questions, especially chasingexcellence.email. Get on the free newsletter list. The multiple ways that you can then get questions into our queue, into future AMQAPs, into future episodes. So thank you in advance for that. Ben, thank you. We'll be back soon for a brand new episode of Chasing Excellence.